Raise your hand if you noticed that. You're in good company. Wonderful.
I know you. I'm Kathy. I am actually House District 24 co-chair. Some of y'all have met me a number of times, maybe. You're always welcome to come to one of our meetings or the first Thursday night of any given month. We're going to have a picnic next month. So hopefully y'all can make it. I will be connecting with Taylor on that because he is our guy. He's our unofficial co-officer almost, but yeah, and I'm also running for county assessor, and so I'd love to meet y'all personally and meet you. As a realtor, I'm like all about property values, and I want to make sure that's done fairly, and that everybody pays their fair share, like poors, or somebody like that, and then also that y'all don't have to pay more than you have to. So that's my 30-second stump speech, but I just want to say hi, and I'm glad to be here. I need to come to APA.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You guys meet once a month?
We meet once a month, usually first Saturday. Every now and then we move it to a Sunday, usually first Saturday. Following up on Kathy, do we have people running for office or currently holding office that would like to introduce yourself without any speeches over 45 seconds? Kathy's was right on 45 seconds, so that's our baseline. Not today. One of the cool things about Arvadans for Progressive Action is we do get office holders coming in and being part of us and listening to what we have to say and speaking to us about what they do and seeking our support. So that's pretty cool. We collect donations to support the rent for this room, as well as our Zoom membership, which allows us to communicate with people out there, and various web hosting and so forth. I'm the treasurer of our group. I just put in our budget, $99 for another year of something, but anyway, so if you're able. All right, this is a good time for what Taylor referred to earlier, which is what's keeping you up at night and what gives you hope. This is an APA tradition, and we will take this out of our recording. I'll start our protest or demonstration. I like the word demonstration better. Now I sound like Donald Trump. I like the word demonstration. Demonstration. Some people call it protest. Anyway, our demonstration, it sounded a little Nixonian, I think. Our demonstration on Saturday was great. Thursday, that's what it was. Say Saturday. Our demonstration on Thursday was awesome, and we got lots of honks. I think our ratio of this to this was about 1 to 15, maybe 1 to 20. So
the police were amazed at how many people were honking for us.
And even people with company names on the side of their trucks gave us a boom boom, which is a little risky. That's great. My time is up. What else? Quick reminder before I forget, if anybody came in and has not signed into an APA meeting before, we'd love to have your name and email address on our sign-in. You can do it on your way out. Let's turn to Harrison. Mr. Wilterdink is going to talk to us about YIMBY.
Yeah.
And here's a good spot to get seen by the owl.
Lovely. Thank you.
And your timekeeper is right here, everybody. Yes.
Okay. So thank you for inviting me, letting me speak. I will stick to sort of what I prepared because I know I have 3 minutes. My name is Harrison Wilterdink. I've worked with Mindy Moore for about the last 2 years on Arvada's Housing Advisory Committee. And I'm also one of the leads of the new YIMBY Arvada. Yes, in my backyard. YIMBY is a national pro-housing movement, and YIMBY Arvada is one of the newest chapters. We're about 3 weeks old as of yesterday. YIMBY stands for Yes in My Backyard, which encapsulates our general attitude for creating abundant, affordable housing in inclusive and sustainable communities. At our core, we believe that more housing and more people in our neighborhoods are good things. Our basic theory of change is to advocate for policies that create housing abundance and to shift the typical narrative of not in my backyard by showing up in our communities and being a positive voice of yes for more housing. I know there's a lot of action that falls under the APA umbrella. Not all of it relates to housing, but I want to outline 3 broad areas where APA and YIMBY overlap. and where our goals are likely to be very well aligned. In short, if you're a progressive who cares about any one of these three things, then you might have a lot of overlap with the YIMBY movement. So first is climate action. Housing policy is basically a pass-fail question for climate change and sustainability. The more our housing patterns sprawl away from city centers, the more resources we use to move goods, resources, and ourselves from place to place. The per capita CO2 emissions of residents living in low-density exurban areas can be more than twice that of somebody living in a city center. Visual aid, I have maps and graphs if you want to look at them later. In short, YIMBYs believe that we can make our cities greener by reforming our land use codes and building codes to enable more housing to be built in city centers than is currently allowed by the status quo. Item number 2 is income equality and racial inequality. Roughly 80% of the land in Arvada is zoned strictly for single-family housing, a designation which makes it illegal to build anything that is affordable to more people, like duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, or apartment buildings. There are a lot of reasons that single-family zoning exists in different places across the nation, but a very common reason is to enforce economic hierarchies, and an implicit reason behind that is often to enforce racial and class hierarchies. YIMBYs believe that we can make our cities more equitable to all people by allowing a wider variety of housing to be built in more places than is currently allowed by the status quo. Third reason, oh, there's my visual aid, a zoning map. Everything that's yellow is the single family zone and it's big. Third reason is housing affordability and homelessness. A basic truism is that homelessness is a housing problem, and when housing costs broadly increase for the median income earner or family, it trickles down to higher costs for people at the low income or no income end of the spectrum. And while building only market rate housing for median incomes will not solve the housing crisis for everybody, certainly underbuilding of market rate housing does us no favors. YIMBYs believe we can create broad housing affordability by allowing a wider variety of housing to be built at a range of price points that is more liberal than what's allowed by the current status quo. That's my time. So if you're watching digitally and want to reach out to us, our email is hello@yimbyarvada.org. And if you want to come talk to me after the meeting, I'll have flyers. You can chat to me about anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harrison. We're now going to hear from our team leaders in APA, starting with communications, Taylor Jarnigan and Allison Phipps, who's speaking for you folks today. Hi, Allison.
Hi. Sorry I couldn't be in person today, but I always love to come to these meetings. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the communications team. We've got some new people helping with the newsletter, and we could always use more help, but I did want to just I'm going to share my screens since I'm on, and I just sent a request to share, but we do have a Blue Sky account now. So if you are on Facebook or if you're not on Facebook and you want to follow along on Blue Sky, or if you've got an account, I just wanted to go ahead and just share what that looks like. We've got 45 followers, and we'll be posting like the events for APA. So like today's event, the May Day protest, that sort of thing. So I know that not everybody's on Facebook. So I just wanted to call out this new platform where you can follow along and find information. Also, information is on our website. So if we try to post at least events like today's, and then past events aren't showing up on here right now. Oh, wait, nope, I don't know where past events are, but we had the protest up here and stuff like that too. So if you're ever looking for events, that you can find them on our events page on our website as well. That's all I'm going to say about communications for now. And then moving on to education, I'm also the education team lead. And the big thing that we're pushing right now is in the newsletter, or the CTA that you get every week from the communications team. Right now, there's a call to action to sign our petitions for the major universities in Colorado to protect free speech for international students. And this one, I'm pulling up this survey or this petition just so you can see what it looks like. But there is a petition for CU, Colorado University, CSU, Regis, Metro State, and School of Mines. There's 6 in total. I might have missed. Oh, and Denver University. I would really appreciate if everybody could sign these. We're seeing students in Colorado lose their visas for a lot of reasons that are kind of shady, like they signed a petition to protect Gazans, or they attended a protest. And these are all protected by free speech. And of course, they're going after the people who are not citizens first. And we know that some of the boards at these universities are sympathetic and would like to do something, but they need to hear from their communities that this is important to us. International students bring a lot of economic value and a lot of diversity and just value to our communities. And it's really disrupting a lot of people's lives, losing their visas and not knowing if they can stay at school. So these petitions, they're pretty much all the same. They are tailored, all 6 are tailored to the university. They'll go to the regents and the university presidents. So you can read through them. And then at the bottom, it's really important to, if you have any affiliation, if you're an alumni or you used to work there, please fill out your affiliation to the university, because I think that'll help. If it's somebody that potentially might donate money, that they'll listen to a little bit more. But you can also just fill out as a Colorado community member if you're not affiliated with the university. So look for those in the newsletter. We'll have them running like maybe another week or 2 before we send them off to the university presidents. So that's it.
Are you good? Are you going overtime?
Nope,
Okay.
that's it. That's all I need.
Perfect. Kathy Blake, healthcare.
Hello, welcome. Kathy Blake, APA Healthcare Action Team Leader. We advocate for universal single payer and healthcare for everyone in Colorado and nationwide. Big news, hey, Senate Bill 45, Healthcare Payment System Analysis, passed both the Colorado houses and is awaiting signature by the governor. Thanks. For 3 years. Thanks for all your hard work and your phone calls and all that. We have also a lot of events happening. Saturday, May 17th at 4 is our healthcare action team meeting on Zoom. Monday, May 19th at 12:30, we are having an in-person meeting with City Council candidate Rebecca Loberson. Are you here? No, at La Dolce Vita Coffee Shop. Friday, May 30th, big night, return of the healthcare action movie night, and we're featuring our first movie, Sicko. And Donna Smith, one of the stars of the movie, she's going to be there in person. She lives in Denver. So for details, contact myself, Kathy, CATHY.M.Blake @gmail.com. And I went to the Medicaid emergency town hall, and I got a sign. And the one on the back. So call your representative if you want to keep keeping Medicare and Medicaid.
Thank you. Bruce Morrison, anti-war.
Hi, I'm Bruce Morrison, anti-war action team. First, I'd like to thank Allison for her effort protecting the rights of the students that are protesting what's happening in Gaza. That's very important. I encourage you to sign that. We believe in anti-war that when thousands of people get killed in a war, or they get especially with bombs that have no protection against, like in Gaza, that's a real horrible thing. But unfortunately, members of Congress don't agree. Every single member of Congress from Colorado, including Democrats, look at the horror of what's happening in Gaza and see self-defense. And I don't think a lot of people, ordinary people, agree that killing 17,000 children is self-defense. So yeah, we're kind of they're out of sync, I think, with the population. We are pushing, we're going to continue to push to have higher consciousness about war. Because, well, for one thing, we cannot solve the environmental crisis without ending wars. The US military is the biggest institutional polluter with carbon on the earth, so we just can't. And it's not even the wars, but the preparation for wars, huge damage to the environment. Also, these wars damage our communities in a multiplicity of ways, making us more violent, more strident, and it wastes past resources. So we're just one more little thing. We are having our next meeting is May 11th at 6:30. Yeah.
So are you doing anything regarding Ukraine?
We have, at the present time, yeah, we could probably focus more on Ukraine. We did a Ukraine program, let's see, summer, it's been a little while, where we showed a movie by Media Benjamin. That of course is a big issue as well.
Thank you. Darlene Chang, climate.
Hi, I'm Darlene Chang, and I'm the Climate Action Team Lead. I want to thank the previous speakers for mentioning climate and the environment. There's a lot of overlap with other progressive causes, and really the climate movement is about ending the war on nature, as well as the war on future generations and on the habitability of our planet. Along those lines, we really got to make things happen in Arvada in order to be an example to the rest of the world. We can't change the world immediately. We have to act local before we can really act global. And Arvada already has some great examples of things that we're doing in our city to advance climate action, including having a neighborhood called the Geos neighborhood where I live, where it's all electric, net zero, no gas for the first 28 homes that were built there. Unfortunately, a new developer came in and put in gas for the rest of the neighborhood, but we're doing our best to put in a climate action plan for the city that would make new developments more like the original vision of the Geos neighborhood. And that climate action plan has been delayed, unfortunately. It'll be released to the public in a couple of months. That's because our senior sustainability coordinator, she resigned last month, and we're looking to hire a new senior sustainability coordinator. And the city staff is looking to carry on her work and get the climate action plan available to the public and be able to get as many people signing on to a letter of support by the summer. In addition, we have an overlap with education. I want to give a shout out to the students that spoke to the Jeffco School Board on April 10th. My daughter was one of those students. There were about a dozen students that spoke on behalf of more climate action for Jeffco schools. And we really need to support these students, and we really need to get as many students speaking out as possible to get Jeffco schools to be a leader on climate action. And finally, I want to speak to my daughter, who's a 16-year-old and a huge history buff. I tried to raise her as a science buff, but she but she really thinks climate action needs to be framed as a historical movement, just like civil rights. It's not only about the science, it's about the action that we must take in order to fight back against the oppressors who are really the fossil fuel industry. So thank you.
Social Connections, Julie Callahan.
Hi, I'm Julie. I believe the only way to change hearts and minds is through connecting with people socially. My goal right now is to give everybody here a place to find community, because we all know authoritarian administrations try to make people feel alone and isolated, and nobody here is alone or isolated. Last month was very busy. There was a lot going on. So this month coming up, I've got some ideas what we're going to do, but I don't have definitive dates because I don't want to interfere with other action teams that have things going on. I can tell you that on Thursday, May 22nd, we're going to have book club. It has been at 3 o'clock, but I'm going to change it to from 6:30 to 8 to see if we can get some more people involved. That book is going to be Emily St. James Woodworking. It was recommended and I think it's a timely book. We had our first happy hour last month. It was a lot of fun. We'd like to do that again. However, we may look at doing it like in my backyard so we can all mingle. Because when, a band showed up and there were a lot of other people and it's hard to hear. So that, look forward to that coming up. Right now, it looks like our next big rally may be June 14th in opposition to a military parade.
The birth of the devil, right?
I'll tell you. So I want everybody to invite everybody they know because this is getting ridiculous. We're also talking about a new activist / young activist appreciation day to try to get our under 40 people to connect to each other. Because if you look around, most of us here are over 40. And when we have younger people come, they may not feel like this is their peer group. So if we can get those people involved to connect with each other, we're gonna have a whole new segment of people who are coming out. Thank you.
I'm even gonna time myself. Hi, I'm Pat Malone and I head up the immigrant protection team. And on the table in the back, you're gonna see cards like this. It has our mission on it and how we do what we do and what you can do starting now. One of the things that we do is to get red cards distributed, and red cards are my sample is somewhere, but there are some of them back there, and they're Spanish and English, and they're things that advise people. Oh, Nancy has a couple. Lots of people have them.
Good.
I wear my Protect Immigrants button all the time, and people say to me, "Oh, I really like your button," and it leads to a conversation, and I ask them, do they have someone in their life who is at risk? And they always do. And then I talk to them and give them some red cards. That's a simple thing that we do. There are red cards back there. Take, 2, 3, 4 if you feel like you'd be comfortable doing it. It gets easier. And also I have a sign-up sheet back there if anyone is interested in joining the immigrant. I forgot to start it. You can sign up there and I think that's all.
I'm Mindy Moore and I am the lead for the housing team. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. We advocate for more affordable housing throughout the city, as well as, statewide, nationally, and also help advocate for people who are facing homelessness. So it's sort of a multi-pronged approach. We're seeing so much pushback in the city of Arvada, Jefferson County, throughout the country of NIMBYism, people who don't want apartments in West Arvada. My goodness, no apartments in West Arvada. That's the new one. Or no navigation center anywhere near my neighborhood for people who are housing insecure. So I really urge you to please look at, getting on the mailing list for the Arvada YIMBY group. I think that'll be a great way to get people, let you know about advocacy and that you can do as well. As far as homelessness, the city is planning on having those small neighborhood meetings to talk about it that they promised us. There's there'll be something in the call to action, which is the newsletter that goes out every week. And by the way, if you haven't signed up for that call to action, your email will get you on there. And also, if you have questions about all our action teams, go to our website. It lists the action teams, the team leads, our contact information. And that may be a little hard for some people to find, but it's on our APA website. And if you want to join these small groups, please, you can also Google homelessness in Arvada. Just go homelessness in Arvada to the city webpage, Arvada city webpage. It has great resources and videos on there, but it also right now has a little pop-up with a survey that says, do you want to participate in these small group conversations?
You fill it out, you just give your name, your email, and your cross streets, so they know what neighborhood you're roughly in when they set these conversations up. So please go to homelessness in Arvada and look at the website and sign up for those small conversations. Thank you.
So to the meat of our program, today's presentation and discussion is about options for civic engagement from two organizations working to make Colorado an even more progressive state. And Joyce is going to introduce our speakers.
I am the political action team, so this program is brought to you by I would like to say us, but right now it's only so, I do have the honor of introducing three speakers. I'm going to introduce two right now because our third speaker, Morgan Waters, is not here yet because she's involved in a big action today, so she'll be getting here a little bit later. First, we have Jen Samano. Jen is a strategist and campaign leader who specializes in navigating complexity and designing strategies that deliver under pressure. As director of advocacy at ACLU of Colorado, she works across teams to turn big picture goals into clear, coordinated action, whether it's rapid response, yay, legal alignment, or long-term advocacy. Her work is grounded in systems thinking, strong collaboration, and a deep belief in the power of collective action and creating lasting change. Something I think we all do too. And Suzie Post, who we know originally as Suzie Shuckman, who ran for city council, and she is back in Colorado. She's currently serving the ACLU of Colorado as the director of Philanthropy. She has been serving nonprofit organizations as a volunteer, staff member, executive leader, and consultant for over 20 years. I don't know how that's possible. She looks so young. Equity, access, and social justice has been top priorities in Susie's professional and personal journey. She began her career organizing in rural Missouri for Senator Claire McCaskill's first Yes campaign. She served as a volunteer paralegal with Legal Aid of Western Missouri while completing her professional fundraising certification and Master of Public Administration. As a fundraising professional, she served organizations such as United Way, the National World War I Museum, Savio House, Heart and Hand Center, and the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce while simultaneously maintaining her own nonprofit consulting company. As a volunteer, Suzie has served Women's March to Denver, the Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce, Impact 100, Community Table, the Arvada Chamber of Commerce, and more. She's a proud Arvada resident and has been involved with Arvadans for Social Justice and, of course, us, Arvadans for Progressive Action. She and her husband, Jeff, enjoy hiking, gardening, cooking, walking two dogs, and cheering on the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah. Welcome, Jen and Suzie, and take it away.
Yes. All right, thank you so much, Joyce, and thank you all so much for inviting us to be here. Can y'all hear me okay in the back?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for coming out on a beautiful Saturday. We would all much rather be outside, and you know, it stinks that we have to spend our time worrying about the world, but I am so grateful to see so many of you here today. Really appreciate it. What Jen and I will do is I'm going to give you a little bit of history about ACLU of Colorado, and Jen is going to lead the discussion around our current legislative initiatives and wins. I will talk a little bit about our legal wins and upcoming things and ways that y'all can get involved, and then we'll do questions at the end. Does that sound okay? All right, everybody. So how many of y'all are ACLU members? I knew this would be like a lot of people here. So thank you. Thank you so much for contributing. Thank you for being a member. That means you've probably been a member for a while, right? So you know what, oh, new members. Okay, great. We like that too. So ACLU National has been around for over 100 years. The National Federation was founded in 1920 We are served by 54 affiliates, including Puerto Rico. California is very special with 3 affiliates of their own. There's hundreds and hundreds of staff based out of the national office, which is held in New York City. They work really closely with us to provide resources, to provide expertise in legal cases, to offer financial resources for us. The boots on the ground is how they refer to us here in each state affiliate. ACLU of Colorado, we have not been around for quite as long. We were founded, originally people started organizing around the idea not very long after 1920, but in the 30s, and we were officially founded in 1952 with the primary purpose of protecting civil rights and civil liberties for all Coloradans. Our team is lean, our team is small. We have about 19 folks on our team. We have currently 4 attorneys who are moving mountains to make sure that we all still enjoy our civil liberties and civil rights. We also operate pretty leanly on around a $4.6 million budget. That's a big number, to be fair. But as the fundraiser and knowing the extent of the work we do, that is a very small amount, knowing what other organizations are doing with much more. We do a lot with much less. That's a little bit around the history of who we are. I'm going to turn it over to Jen, and we're going to learn more about our legislative capacity right now.
Hello, I'm Jen. It's a really boring bio, but we're trying. All right, so I'm going to talk about just give you a legislative update. We are almost done with legislative session. Yay for our policy team. So our policy team is our lobbyists, or our constitutional expertise is obviously in policy making. And in our legislative history as an affiliate, we're proudly will say and shockingly say a majority of our bills have been bipartisan, like the ones that we sponsor. Even, that has dwindled a bit in the last 2-4 years. However, I say that because Colorado has a unique opportunity in our political culture, maybe even still today, in that we're actual civil libertarians here, right? Hear me out. I know I'm wearing my flag hat. But what that means in not only the state capitol, but our opportunity to create a firewall for freedom of Colorado and to hold the line here is that there's an awareness that civil liberties means freedom from the government, right? And no matter who that government is, we're a largely independent state in terms of our makeup. We have a diversity of ideological opinions, and most of those lean towards the causes we're all with. And so what we do at the state legislature is making sure that we're not creating frivolous new laws that will create more constitutional confusion, or that aren't redundant, because that creates more risk for our people who we're supposed to be protecting. And then, of course, we also do civil rights, which I know you all know this, but it's just been saying it for the 7 years of work here, is, civil liberties being our freedom from the government, civil rights, equal access to those freedoms. And so that's the other half of our legislation. We proudly work with a ton of partners, and believe it or not, sometimes even law enforcement. I'm telling you, it gets weird under the Capitol, but it's something to be proud of, and especially and to be leveraged in this moment. And so here's an update on where we're actually working on the issue areas we are kind of always focusing on, but that really come up this session around criminal legal reform. And then we have a lot of privacy and surveillance, but I'm going to name the actual bills for it. And then also immigrant rights, amongst other things. So I'm just going to go through our list here, which is publicly available, but I'll explain it in a better way. So there is who has heard of the Colorado Voting Rights Act? Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Okay, so this one, our Common Cause, we've all heard Common Cause, our partner org, and some really great legislators have been leading on this. The bill number I will share because it's really fun. It's SB 2501. It was the first bill number pulled this year, so I feel like that is a good auspicious sign. This is waiting for the governor's signature. The importance of this is that it reifies or codifies into law what we are at risk of losing with the VRA nationally. Which is important when we say freedom, firewall for freedom, freedom firewall, however you want to do it. That's exactly what we're talking about, is creating those structures and laws and reinforcing not only in anticipation, in anticipation of the future, but also meeting the needs right now. We know those attacks, especially on elections, are already coming, they're already here. So that's great news. That one's awaiting the governor's signature. These next two bills, we were really supporting our partners with, something we care about a lot. And they're to do with the Department of Corrections, so people have to be in prison. One of them is giving more access to visitation from family. That one's awaiting signature. That one's huge. The other one is about, so basically as of now, when people are released from prison, they owe money. If they have gone to the doctor, they can owe copay or other like medical bills like this. This bill, when the governor signs it, would wipe those kind of copay debts. Which
Can you
makes
give
a lot
us
of
the bill
sense.
numbers of those two bills?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Absolutely. And I can share these as a follow-up as well. They're on our website. So this one is the one about the insurance payments, co-payments is HB 25, well, obviously 1026. And then let me find the other one.
The complete list of all of our active legislation pieces is active on our website. We update it daily and with updates on where we're at in the process of that piece of legislation. And then also when we get to the legal side, every single case we have active and past cases can be found there with updates every day on where we're at in those processes as well.
Yeah, I will get you the, I think I'm about to scroll past it. But yeah, again, those are the co-payments and the visitations and you the whole list. Those are both awaiting governor's signature. This is a huge win. This next one is SB 62. Failure to appear, this is the official title, failure to appear charges in municipal court. What does that really mean? This is a great example of ACLU work, I believe, because what we found out through a mix of our community work, our legal work, and now our policy work. So we found out maybe last summer or summer before that people in Pueblo specifically were being held for up to over 300 days for failure to appear charges and criminal small penalties, which is something that we thought we'd corrected before. When our legal team started looking into it, we noticed it in a couple other jurisdictions. So this bill puts in line these municipalities with what should be state laws so that people cannot be held for such petty offenses and essentially like the debtor prison. This was a success and it passed and it has been signed. It's a really big deal for us. Okay, got some defensive bills. Do you want me to go faster? Immigration, yeah. Suzie knew I was gonna do this, but
That's why we're a good team.
yeah, you read my bio. Okay, wait, can I no, fine, I won't share that one. Okay. I'm gonna sneak one in. We also passed a prohibition on facial recognition in schools. That was really exciting. And then the best, right now, who has heard about the immigration bill going through?
Oh, yeah.
What was
276. 276.
Yeah, like, yes, so this is a HB 1276. But no, it's not. You just said it. I have to
SB.
276.
276.
Oh, that's pretty good. SB 276 is protect civil rights immigration status. We have been anticipating this kind of larger bill. Thank you. That is just like the voting rights bill. In that, what we're looking at is to expand Colorado's not only protections for civil rights and civil liberties, but anticipation of what's to come and what we already have seen coming. We got a nice like happy hour time news notification about us getting, or Denver getting, and Colorado getting sued for immigration, for being sanctuary state. So that happened yesterday. So the timing, anyway, this is up. We have like 3 days left in session. This just got through the House yesterday, and I think it has to go into concurrent, so getting voted on again by both of the chambers, and then signed by the governor. So they need to do that concurrent.
Get past the House today.
Yes, yeah, I think they had a special session for it as well. So anyway, Monday, my ask now going kind of into advocacy mode from legislative mode is we are hosting with CERC and partnership with CERC a hybrid in-person and virtual phone bank on Monday evening that we would love to have your our 30th. Yeah, so we'd love to have you all there, and we will continue our work in all of these fields beyond legislation, but
I'll post the link for that to register for the phone bank and the APA Facebook page. So that way, if anybody's interested, you can sign up and either choose to participate in person if you have time tomorrow or Monday, or do that virtually from the comfort of your own home. So thanks, Jen, for giving us some of those updates. How are we doing on time, Pat? I mean, if you didn't start it, I'll just write.
8.5 minutes.
8 minutes,
left.
all right.
Yep.
So part of the functions that we serve are not just policymaking and advocacy, but also the legal side of the work that we represent on behalf of all Coloradans. That gets very complicated sometimes. It seems to be less complicated these days to try to do the right thing to protect people from getting disappeared or removed from their homes illegally and removed from Colorado illegally. So one of the biggest cases that our small but mighty legal team has been championing right now in conjunction with support from National ACLU, because they understand that Colorado is being specifically targeted. And we're seeing that more and more on an increasing basis. So again, you can find the complete list of all the litigation on our website, but I'm just going to share a few of the highlights and what these cases are about right now. What the largest case that we're focusing on is DBU et al. Versus Donald Trump et al. It's an emergency class action lawsuit that was filed on April 12th to halt summary removals under the Alien Enemies Act for people in the District of Colorado. The case is brought by two petitioners, both Venezuelan men in Colorado, and they were in ICE custody and at risk of being removed under the president's proclamation signed on March 14th and published the next day. At least 11 Coloradans have already been disappeared from this to the CDOT prison in El Salvador under the AEA, which is terrifying. Those are at least just the ones we know about. On April 14th, a federal court granted the petitioner's emergency motion for temporary restraining order, TRO, prohibiting the removal of those non-residents who are potentially subject to the Alien Enemies Act. The court held an emergency hearing. And when I say emergency, I mean emergency. Our team was working for over 24 hours. Filings were happening on behalf of the government at 3 a.m. Our team had to meet and respond to those filings by 4 or 5 a.m. Before 6 a.m. Rulings came down as early as 6:37 a.m. I mean, these are very trying circumstances. And we're really, really proud and grateful that our team is there to meet the need. We're glad to say that that TRO is still in place for those Venezuelans that we are representing that are being held in the Geo Center in Aurora. We have to keep re-upping the TRO every 12 days. So going through the process to ensure that they don't end up on one of the buses, leaving on a Tuesday from the Geo Center, being sent down to El Paso and then on to El Salvador. But right now, that's a yay. They're still here in Colorado, and we're still able to provide counsel for them. We're still able to protect their civil rights and maintain that they are part of the due process that we all have a right to. So that's good. Keep following that case. A couple of wins that we've had recently in the past few months: Crookshanks versus the Elizabeth School District. Book bans. They came for the Elizabeth School District. They removed any and all books from schools that did not align with the conservative values of the newly elected school board. This specifically focused on removing books that were by people of color, LGBTQ authors, or even made mention of any of this in the school district. Luckily, and as of this week, we won on appeal. Again, the judge upheld the ruling that those books go back on the shelf. But we need those back. Those are going to be back on the shelf by midnight, so students have access to those. So we are really grateful for the hard work of our team to ensure that students across Colorado will have access to that, because that's setting precedent for every other district that's thinking about pulling those as well. So it's a very useful ruling for us, and it's a great benefit for the kids all this time. And lastly, many of you may be familiar with the League of Women Voters of Greeley case around gerrymandering. They got up to no good over there in Greeley. They decided to take upon themselves to do some illegal acts that violated amendments Y and Z. And luckily, in conjunction with League of Women Voters, the Latino Coalition of Weld County, and 2 individual voters, we helped file a lawsuit. On August 12th, 2024, along with ACLU National, we filed an amicus brief in Colorado Supreme Court in support of the voters. And then on February 24th, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled in favor of the voters to uphold the amendment that they had to go back and fix the redistricting. So that's another heel. So in addition to Jen's request to join us on Monday for a Know Your Rights campaign, anybody guess as Director of Philanthropy what my biggest resource might be? If you are not a member and interested in becoming a member, please join. We have a QR code back there that you can scan. It makes it very easy. Also, any dollars that you donate directly to ACLU of Colorado, you can keep those here in Colorado. We're national, we have a system where they support us, but we need the resources here to continue doing the invaluable legal work and policy work that we're doing every single day. So anything that anyone is able to contribute, we really, really appreciate. I have some prizes. Anybody a pet parent out there? Does anybody remember what time we said the phone bank is on Monday?
5:30.
5:30.
I don't have a pet.
Oh. Do you want to give us someone because this looks real cute on a little ACLU watch. Okay. How about any members back there that have a little dog?
Has one that has a.
Yeah, tiny dog. Anyway, you can see it after. If you're a tiny dog, go for it. I have some materials back there for y'all as well. There's some ACLU magazines that talk about some of the work going on nationally, because we know that that's on the forefront of everyone's mind as well. But we're really grateful to have so many people in the room today. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you for showing up for events like this. Thank you for showing up on Grandview and protesting all this time. We've been going out of the Capitol, but we'll come to Grandview next time, Jeff and I will. I have a few Know Your Rights booklets if anybody's interested. We also have Know Your Rights for protesters cards back on the table that are in yellow. And then I have Know Your Rights in Spanish cards. If y'all are interested in grabbing some of those too. But that's all we have. What questions do y'all have for us?
So Jen, you mentioned privacy, but you didn't mention any bills.
I snuck one in. I was going overtime. So, but really our biggest one was around the K-12 prohibit, like extending the prohibition of facial recognition technology.
And do you know the bill number on that one?
I'll write it down. I don't want to get up here and scroll.
See it.
Yeah, I can get it.
I have a question.
So my question is, if ICE agents are approaching somebody to take them, their faces are covered and they're not providing identification, can you resist? Can bystanders resist on behalf of the person? What's the legality of all that?
That's a very good question. As a non-litigator, I cannot advise anyone to do anything around that. There's information and recommendations around what you can do in here. We've gone through several trainings that you don't have to, it's recommended to us to just not respond. You're not going to speak to them. You're going to say, I want my counsel, and that's literally it.
Okay.
So depending on where they take that from there, it just depends on that individual situation.
But you can call the hotline.
Yeah.
And you should have one of those cards and call the hotline, and then they'll get the word out for people to show up.
I think one of the most helpful things you can do is because if there is this scenario in which intervening, even if that's really honestly also not really our full bag is civil disobedience, but there is a risk in intervening as a bystander in that person's case. It can be used like against them, or it can muck things up. So what is helpful, of course, what Pat was saying, calling the rapid response hotline and CERT, is writing everything down, filming it, and getting that out there. Like, those are the good things we want on record. So, yeah, because I won't give that really negative example. Yeah.
I
So,
have a question.
Yeah.
So as a flip the script kind of thing, I've been a victim of identity theft, and I've noticed you're very big on privacy. And whenever I try to figure out who these people that stole my identity were, I run into these privacy walls. Is the ACLU doing anything to help with identity theft?
Our affiliate is not. I don't know about Nashville, but I can find out for you, Mike.
I went up to Corazon, the union printer in Broomfield, to pick up my cards that I passed around. By the way, I need donations. But I actually wanted to share these with you. Big stack, maybe a 3-inch stack of these cards. And I asked if I could just grab a handful. So I was going down to March. I didn't end up handing any out, but it's got in Spanish on one side and then English on the other. And it says, I want to exercise my rights. And then it has a statement about the Fourth Amendment. I do not give you permission to enter my home based on my Fourth Amendment rights under the United States Constitution. I will only permit you to enter my home if you show me a search warrant signed by a judge. If you have such a warrant, please tell me and slide it under the door. So this is like just a little tip card of what to do if you feel like.
That's what the red cards are that we talked about.
And then we have the green cards that have it.
And then it has a spot to,
Right.
there's a number to call.
It's the same information. That's what we have in the green card
Okay.
in Spanish. And then it's know your rights, kind of more focused on protesters. So if you're out at a protest and you encounter
Right.
police, but we have others as well. But yeah, and those has some of those cards right back there too on the table.
These?
Not, they don't look exactly like it, but they have the same information.
Right, because I think since she had a huge stack right there where you could grab them, I wonder, since she's a printer, if she'd be willing to share it with the group. I don't know. That useful or you go with the red.
I think any cards, anytime we get that information, there's helpful.
yeah, yeah.
It's just.
What are the chances, how, the bills that are on the governor's desk?
Oh, joy! I don't keep going. Sorry, Oh, actually.
Is there, what ones is he willing to sign, you know? Any indication?
Which one should we call on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, for us, from our perspective, is the immigration bill is really where we're piling on. We don't, yeah.
What's the number?
276.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, SB 25-276.
Okay. We shouldn't call Polis about any others that,
That's the priority right now.
Okay.
I think with the Department of Justice introducing
Mhm.
their efforts now, I think the more voices we can have advocating for that, the better case we'll make for it.
We had a very milquetoast statement about it.
What else? Rachel.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
First, is just like clarifying what we're phone banking about on Monday. And then the second is, are you all planning on putting in the ballot as well?
Okay, that's me.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, yeah, okay. So the first question is, what exactly are we phone banking on Monday? Second one, are we putting anything on the ballot? I will put it. Okay, phone bank, we will, with these phone banks, because the way things move, we'll be for sure on who our target is on Monday, and especially after Fridays, but for now, we're planning on it being Polis. So there'll just be extra fun, to your point, and this, yeah, it's our immigrant rights phone bank on that, it's at 276. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna be calling Polis, we'll train you up, again, it's in person or hybrid script of people who are pretty supportive, but yeah, that's what we'll be doing. And then for the ballot, we're in a defensive position from what I can tell in a really, really big way. This even for the 4 ballot initiatives potentially in Denver and the local level, and then we're also already looking at 2026 following the the title board. And yeah, we're gonna be in a defensive position. We're gonna need everyone to together. I did say that much, not all this. Yeah.
So, I assume you're telling people to decline to sign initiative 22, school choice?
Yes, always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Do you folks at the local state level still have, or distribute some of the pocket size, Constitution books, and do you ever go out in the community and do a kind of a walkthrough of more than the Second Amendment or the 14th Amendment, where we could kind of hear a little more about our Constitution?
Great question. So we would love to have the budget to hand those little constitutions out again. That's something we're working towards. Right now, we've been focusing on publishing the Know Your Rights cards, as that's just been a priority, but we don't have them to distribute right now. I know our national office has access to some, and I can request some to bring to an API meeting and get some that we can circulate amongst ourselves or others. And then secondly, we don't have specific events where we're focusing on just the Constitution right now. Am I right?
We don't, but now I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
We do a lot of know your rights, and we're trying to increase the amount of legal and civic panels that we're doing, because obviously that's a huge gap.
And we have a spot on our website where you can request us to come out and do a Know Your Rights training for your group, for your church, for APA, for anybody else that might be interested in knowing more about Know Your Rights. Thank you.
You see that Morgan has made it from her deep canvassing event today. I'm sorry for their deep canvassing. Morgan is field coordinator at UNE, United for a New Economy, where they lead the deep canvassing program. They recruit volunteers to find common ground with their neighbors and connect with voters at the door. And that's something that APA members have done in the past, often for the Democratic Party, and people have really said it's really interesting and fun to do. Robin Kupernick did quite a bit one year, and so I'm putting in a plug, but you might want to sign up. UNE's deep canvassing program is a proven voter contact method built with the assistance from the new Conversation Initiative, and is designed to change how people think and behave in a lasting way by talking to voters at their doors, listening to and learning about their experiences, and sharing about our own. And with that, I would like to invite. I don't want to mess people up over here. I'll come around this way. Okay. Awesome. Oh, I missed something. UNE, Morgan held a number of field positions for electoral and ballot campaigns, as well as longer field programs that built leadership capacity and field instruction. And I remember meeting Morgan at work for Joe Salazar. So, some of the key campaigns that Morgan has worked on include Bernie Sanders for president, Joe Salazar for attorney general, and the ballot campaign to raise the Colorado minimum wage in 2016. Through their experience in the field, Morgan knows that the best way to run a campaign is focusing on people, not on numbers. By working on campaigns that are transformational instead of transactional, Morgan has been able to build structures within organizations and communities that set people up to continue organizing, to use each campaign to build permanent power. Morgan is excited to join the UNE team and build a multiracial voting majority to transform our economic, political, and social systems so they work for all, no exceptions. Welcome, Morgan. Thank you.
Awesome. Hello, ATA. Sorry I'm a little late. Like Joyce said, I was running a deep canvas. So I'm a little disheveled from the doors right now. But it's so great to see so many new faces that I'm excited to get to meet, as well as some folks that I am very well familiar with from working together on Joe Salazar's campaign and at Working Families Party. So yeah, as Joyce said, I'm Morgan Waters. I'm the field coordinator for United for a New Economy. We are a racial and economic justice organization in Adams County, where we work to get public benefits in the hands of the people. And my whole job at UNE is running a canvassing program to repeal Tabor. Oh. Yeah. Show of hands, who here is familiar with Tabor, the taxpayer bill of rights? Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, how do we feel about Tabor? Yeah. Me too. So, as we all know, this horrible law, which, by the way, was too radical even for Florida. It's really making it impossible for our government to function and provide the services that we all need, right? And I've been knocking doors about Tabor for almost a year now. And I would come home so angry after talking to people and hearing the real tangible ways that Tabor is hurting our communities. And then one day, like, it clicked for me. I always thought, you know, Tabor is about someone else. It's hurting someone else. And then I realized that, like, Tabor's hurting me too. So my partner is a teacher, actually in Jeffco. And she teaches mainly low income and immigrant students. And now we are spending all of our extra money buying Costco-sized boxes of granola bars and other essentials just for these kids to make it through the day. And you know, our schools should be providing what kids need to get to school, to get an education, and to be successful. But because of Tabor and because there's no funding, this is falling on who we already know are underpaid, teachers, to provide these basics for their kids. And teachers are gonna do it. They are going to make sure their kids are okay, no matter how much it hurts them. And watching this month after month, all of our extra money going out just to make sure these kids are okay, I feel so helpless on what I can do, but we have to do it. These kids deserve to have what they need. So that's where we are as a state, forcing underpaid and overworked teachers to buy granola bars and pencils just so their kids can get an education. It's pretty messed up. And even more, like, almost no one in Colorado knows about this law and how horrible it is and how much it is hurting our state. That's not an accident that no one knows about it. They don't want us to know about it, so we don't change it. But we have discovered that the solution to all of this is to talk to each other about it. So, as Joyce said, we are running a first of its kind canvassing program, implementing deep canvassing values to change hearts and minds around Tabor and just get rid of this thing. Finally, we've been trying for almost 33 years now, you know, and I think we've all been in this for a long time, that every time we try, we keep losing, right? And you can come to someone with facts and figures as much as you want. Who here has tried to, like, change someone's mind with facts, with data? Yeah, how'd that work out for you? Yeah, because the problem is these are emotional issues. Money is emotional. Like our bills, that is emotional. That is a gut deep feeling. And so through deep canvassing, we connect with people at their doors and really truly listen to them in a way that isn't very common anymore. You know, when's the last time someone came up to your door and just wanted to know all about your life and how you're doing? You know, it doesn't happen. But because we do that, we make these really emotional connections with voters and are able to quickly get them to agree with us that Tabor has to go. It's honestly, I've been doing organizing for over 15 years, and this is the most effective program I've ever seen. So we are gearing up in 2026. Us, along with many fabulous, brilliant partners, are looking at putting a graduated income tax on the ballot in 2026, which will undo one of the most damaging parts of Tabor. It's not the whole ballgame, but it's a good first step. So we
Is
need
that the Together We Thrive coalition?
Yes, Together We Thrive and some other folks.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where we are right now. And we've seen how effective these conversations are. We just need to have more of them. We need to have a lot more of them. So if you care about education, about roads, about parks, I mean, name a public service and Tabor is hurting it. So if you care about these things, we need you to join us. Our next deep canvas is going to be June 14th at 9 a.m. And then starting in July, we're going to be going every other Saturday. And I will get all of you the information about all of these. But if you are interested in taking on Tabor and being a part of this first of its kind in the country program, I got a sign up sheet here. I'd love for you to name, phone, email, real simple, and we'll get in touch with you and get you signed up. Yeah. Okay, I'll start this with you, Jim, and I'll answer some questions.
Yeah, Morgan, so Jefferson County this last November, you know, finally got to Bruce, got the Jeffco Tabor restrictions removed. And you're right, numbers didn't matter to people, but what really helped was saying Douglas County doesn't do this. El Paso County doesn't do this. So you're, you know, saying stuff like Florida doesn't do this, I think really hits home. Like, why is Colorado so stupid? You know, other more conservative counties still they need the money. You know, this more conservative state needs the money. Why are you doing this to Colorado? So really simple messages. I think you could probably learn a few things about how Jefferson County finally got it passed last November.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be super helpful. And you know, Colorado is the only state that has Tabor. A couple states actually did try it. They're like, uh-oh, this is not a good idea. We need to roll this back real quick. So Colorado is the only one, and we've had it since 1992. Yeah. If Florida thought it was crazy, what are we doing?
Is there training for?
Yes. So we have, because these conversations are different than traditional canvassing. We're talking like 15-minute conversations at the door, really digging in and making connections with people. So at our canvas launches, we will feed you, very important. We will train you. We have an extensive training that we've developed over 2 years to be as helpful as possible. And we'll also partner you up with an experienced canvasser who's done it before so that y'all can work together and kind of figure it out together. Yeah. Yeah.
So are you covering the whole state?
So good question. Right now we are working in Adams County, but part of why we need folks to come and join us and build this program is so that we can scale it and start passing it off to some of our partners in other parts of the state as well. So this is starting, you would be getting in on the ground floor of like a revolutionary thing. You're saying like, hey, I was there when. You know, once we have hundreds of canvassers going out, you'll be able to say, I was one of the cool kids.
Are you knocking on the doors of Republicans and how's that experience?
Also a good question. Yeah, so we do not target by party. So the people we are talking to are predominantly low-income voters of color who, A, are the most likely to benefit from the services that Tabor is hurting, and B, also most likely to cut their taxes to save a few dollars in their pocket because money is already tight. So those are the kind of conflicted voters that we're having these conversations with, and that spans all identity. That spans race, class, party, all of that. I know people get nervous talking to Trump supporters. I get it. I was very nervous when I started. I can honestly tell you some of my most connected and productive conversations around Tabor have been with folks who, when I went to their door, there was a giant Trump flag in the window, not a little guy, like the whole window. And we connected as people. We connected as people who depend on services, who depend on parks, who depend on public schools, who want a sidewalk to walk with their stroller down, you know, who needs public transportation to get to work. We're able to connect on these things across party, across identity in a really compelling and beautiful way.
And are these people voters?
Yes. Yes. So we are talking to voters who we're not just targeting the most likely voters, because honestly, I can tell you some of the people who've gotten most riled up and actually signed up to volunteer with us when we explain to them like what Tabor is doing have never voted before, and they're definitely gonna now. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. Have you gotten people answering your door? Because boy, you know, when you're canvassing for a candidate, I hardly ever get to talk to anybody.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's a reality of canvassing, right? Is that most people won't be home. But the conversations we do get to have, like, no one is expecting a complete stranger to come up to their door and be like, yeah, tell me about what it's like to get by in this economy. How do you feel about the American dream? Like these types of conversations, And it's fascinating. I also was the same way. I'm like, I'm gonna get so many doors slammed in my face. This is a crazy conversation to be having. No one would go with me on this. But I will say, in the 9-10 months that I've been doing this, every door that's opened has talked to me. I haven't had a door slammed in my face. I hadn't had someone be like, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. Get out of my lawn. Because folks are, I think we all know, everyone is like hungry for connection. And it's been missing for a long time. And so being able to like authentically and vulnerably connect with voters really matters to them. Yes.
Are you working with other unions, like teacher unions and getting other people involved? Because it's a lot to talk to every voter and go door to door.
Exactly, it is. And that's why we're trying to get everyone to come in and join us. So we actually had 2 Jeffco teachers at our campus launch today, and we'll have more from them. I'm actually talking to the teachers union next week, very excited about it. And we're partnering with different organizations like Center for Health Progress, some other folks. We're looking at maybe launching a program in Pueblo. We shall see. But that's why we need folks to come in and also bring the folks you're connected to. You know, if you're in a union and you want to take on the Tabor fight, talk to your union leaders. We would love to work with them and build a program together. Any other questions? Well, apparently I'm very good at explaining.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Because we're a group about creating community and creating a strong community as a form of resistance. Please introduce yourself to someone you've never met before you leave. And thank you.
I get a plug. It's funny here, you know.